Some fighters are technical, some fighters are powerful, and then there are fighters that some people pay to watch, and Uriah has become one of those guys. Two-time Fremont champion, explosive, creative, switches stance, and now stepping into another major matchup against the state champion while continuing to test himself internationally. But what makes Uriah interesting isn't just how he fights, it's how he's developing, how he's evolving, and how he's growing. So we're going to get into it right now. Uriah, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate
You
it.
got it, brother. Hey, take me back to the first time when you walked into Fighter's Chance. I know not everybody's gotten a chance or opportunity to hear that backdrop, and so I want to run it back a little bit. Take me back to what you remember when you first walked into Fighter's Chance.
First time ever?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
uh, oh man, I think I want to say I was 14. I just walked in there and there were a lot of older guys back then, but just a lot of people that I was very nervous when I was walking in there. I didn't know what I was really getting into. I was like, boxing, something I've never really tried. But I'd come off of. I mean, we talked about it last time, how I really got into boxing, and so I was just looking for something to give me some confidence, build me up, make me a little bit stronger, and that's what I found. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was pretty scary though, first time. Yeah,
a little intimidating. So
I would
you
say.
you weren't really thinking about something long term. It was just like, hey, let me get in here, let me figure out what this is. Maybe I'll get some confidence, right?
Yeah, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I just walked in there. I was just trying to learn how to, defend myself. Just kind of seeing. I really didn't. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be a long thing. Like I was going to be in there for a while or anything. So,
When would you
but,
say it kind of clicked for you though that you were, considering this becoming more than just, a one-off gym session that you're walking into and, something more?
I would say, I started going consistently, and at first they put me in the kids class, and as I excelled up into there, they put me in the comp team. And Storm started explaining to me what a competition was, etc. And I would say it was like really my first fight that clicked. It clicked for me. So
Yeah. What
yeah.
what was it about it? Was it, just getting hit and then all of a sudden now the adrenaline rushes and you're like, oh, like I feel this competitive edge about me. Like what would you say it was?
I would say, yeah, a bit like that. Honestly, my first fight, I was extremely nervous, still like wondering what I was getting into. I was still little. It was a stoppage, but I think it was a sense of like fairness. It was very fair. I felt most of my life, it was kind of unfair. What was going on. When I was like picked on and stuff, it was by a couple of kids. It was either three or four. It wasn't really one person. But
Hmm.
when I'm in that ring, it's one on one. It's all on me. And when I got it done, it just kind of felt like a sense of peace, especially when I won. My family seeing everything, and I was like, dang, I can show them what I'm truly capable of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
that's interesting. So, thinking about what you just mentioned here, you said, life can be unfair, and in the circumstances that you caught yourself in, you were being bullied, by not just one person, but teams of people, let's say,
yeah, yeah,
and boxing allowed you that opportunity to say, "Hey, this is just me and the other person. It's all about whatever you're going to put into it." And now the rules of engagement have kind of changed. Looking back on where you are now, in light of that event of your life, right, and that changing now who you are,
yeah.
those people that maybe intimidated you back then, like what's that kind of relationship now? Are those people that champion you, that see you, or do you talk to them anymore? You don't have to call out any names or whatnot, but I'm curious
I
about how
will, I
people
will.
look at you.
Um, yeah, I would say, especially even like, you know, just a couple years going into boxing, they started changing a lot more. You know what I mean? As I started to grow a bit in stature and box a little bit more. But now I would say I still talk to them. They weren't really enemies, and obviously I'm a Christian man, so I always forgive. But even the worst ones that would like always dog on me, especially when I was little, skinny, whatever. Yeah, I still talk to them. I've already forgiven them. I just keep that connection no matter what, and I remain
Yeah.
humble. Another thing is boxing has humbled me extremely. It's built me up and then humbled me time after
Mm,
time again. I love that about boxing.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. That's amazing. That's phenomenal for parallels back into life, right? Because life can humble you.
Right.
and you learned it in the boxing gym. Definitely allows you to remember those moments as well when it comes to life. You know,
Yeah.
would you say there's a specific moment, through this boxing season where you realized, man, I'm different. I'm not the same guy I was, 6 months ago, a year ago, 12 months ago, whatever it was. Was there something that was a switch that kind of, I guess, turn the identity piece on where it's like, hey, I'm not that other person that I thought I was.
Um, ooh, that's a tough question.
Hmm.
I would say I would say it was I think honestly, this is honest. The first time I think it was no, the second. I technically the first time, but it was fights on Fremont too. When I had fought, I rematched this kid. His name was Cyrus Beams, and I had lost to him the first time. So they set up a rematch hometown, and I beat him. And in that, I just kind of like I remember most of the fights before that, I was really scared going in. I kind of had that like mentality of being afraid. Kind of what's the word?
Hesitant.
We're yeah, hesitant, like a pushover a bit. Like
Okay.
if someone told me my opponent was like scary, I'd be like, oh.
Mm,
But that fight going in, I'd known how he was. I'd known how he fought, and I was really going in there with like a mentality of like, I need to win this. And I think that was the turning point of like when every fight and every just in life, I had
mhm.
gone in confident and being like, I need to do this. Like it's especially after the win, it felt amazing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Regarding your fighting style, I've got a chance to watch you, a handful of times, and I think many people would agree with me that your style stands out immediately. I'd say, a combination of explosive, sometimes unpredictable, switching stance. Where would you
Yeah.
say that your style comes from? Like, describe it for me and where it came from.
I think Storm probably said something about this, but a lot of the oh, and I love the dude. A lot of the inspiration is from Manny Pacquiao. I
Okay.
love Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, and Marvin Hagler. That's where I got the switching stances from.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I I would say a bit of the explosiveness part for sure is where I think I stand, especially in my fighting style. Um, yeah, it was a lot just from Manny Pacquiao. He throws so many punches. A lot of his power is from his legs, and that's where I really
Hmm.
build up from, you know. And yeah, he throws in flurries. I try to, I'm not as good as him, but I try to throw one or two punches, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's where it would stem from for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Manny, he's got that rematch now announced with Mayweather. I know it's many years post, when they were in their prime.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think is going to take shape there? You think Manny's going to get his revenge?
I don't know. That's it. Because all right, Manny now is even doing pretty good in his exhibition matches.
Hmm.
And I love Floyd. I love both of them. But even back then, I feel like that was a bit unfair. Floyd kind of ran from him for a little bit, and then took that fight. Still beat him, I'll admit. But now I feel like, as old as Manny is, I feel like they're kind of even now. Floyd is aged, and Manny is just stayed on that level. And Floyd is partied. He kind of owns some strip clubs and stuff now, but
Hmm.
doing his own thing. But I think he stays training. It'll be a bit more even now for sure. But I
Nice,
think Manny got that. I'm not gonna lie.
nice.
So
For
yeah,
for yourself, like, as far as your style is concerned, you mentioning Manny being some inspiration behind, the way his footwork is and the explosiveness, combinations, etc.
yeah.
It does remind me a lot of your style. And would you call yourself more of a reactive fighter then, or somebody more that's imposing their will on the person?
Um, I would say imposing my will. I think over time it kind of developed into that. At the start, I was more of a reactive fighter, trying to counter a lot more. But I think I was more prone to getting beaten because I do have good defense, but I'm not really good at that. When I'm applying the pressure and going forward, moving forward most of the time, that's where I can actually work and like explode into my punches. It's kind of hard to explode as you're backing up, you
Right.
know. So
Yeah.
pressure is my main key there most of the
Yeah.
time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
Pressure's
yeah,
your friend. Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
So in
is.
in the first 30 seconds of a fight, like, what's typically going through your mind in the first 30 seconds? Like, cause this thing goes quick, right? The rounds go fast.
Boxing wise,
Yeah. Boxing wise.
oh, oh man, I don't know. First 30 seconds, just get to the middle, get to the middle, get to the middle, and just get that first punch. Honestly, you know, this doesn't seem like it will, but the first punch really dictates a lot of the fight.
Hmm.
If you get hit with a pretty hard jab or just maybe even a combo, and it's happened to me, at the start of a fight, it's a mental thing. It's like, dang,
Hmm.
like, oh, he's super fast, he hits pretty hard, let me back up. But over the rounds, you can get him, he'll tire out, he'll wear down. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that first punch always just kind of sets the pace for the fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, just getting in the middle and throwing that first punch for sure.
Yeah. Well, right beyond that juncture, then, I mean, what would you say? How long does it take you to figure out who you're dealing with, typically?
Typically, and I would say, do you mind if I like talk about my last fight just a little? You
Absolutely.
good?
Yeah. Let me hear it.
Yeah, my last fight, humble dude, love him. God bless him. His name was Keegan Martell, and it was my first fight where I fought 3 minutes since I'm 17 now. And we're both, I think, 17. I think you might have been 18. Don't fact check me, but that first round, honestly, he got that first round. Second and third, I really put it on him, but it took me that whole first round to just kind of figure out what he was doing. And to be honest, like the amount of time the rounds are, like whether it be 2 or 3 minutes,
Hmm.
dictates a lot of the pace of the fight. That fight, I think it really just I had to read him for that whole fight. But
Hmm.
me and Storm worked it over, and most of the time, to answer your question, it's about half of the first round. I think I would spend like waiting, just seeing how they box,
Hmm.
looking at their footwork, you know what I mean, their inconsistencies, and then I would start going in and throwing punches. So,
Hmm.
but not
That's fair.
giving up enough for the judges to take over.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to give the whole first round away, but have enough time to
Right.
read them. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can definitely tell, you're a student of the game, which is something that definitely is a plus and a bonus for anybody that's, combating at this in this particular sport. What would you
Yeah.
say from a technical side? What's something that you've really sharpened or honed in on over the last year?
Um, I would say, and honestly, what I didn't have a lot of was my I guess I don't know if this would be surprising, but my athletic ability.
Hmm.
I had done track over this last couple of months, and last year I had, but weightlifting as well, just incorporating a lot of explosive movements like plyometrics and stuff
Hmm.
has really helped me up my power, especially because so and my weight. I've gone up a weight class as well, but that's a good thing for me. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
what do you have right now?
Right now I'm at fighting at or like what
Mhm.
am I sitting with?
Yeah.
I'm
What do you
fighting
right
at
now?
155. So
155. Okay. So yeah, you are bulking up, huh? You're
yeah,
bumping up a
yeah.
bit. Okay.
I'm getting a bit. Not fat though. Not fat,
Yeah.
I promise.
No, that's awesome. Hey, so when we're talking about, because you're elevating in caliber of fighters, you're bumping up in weight now too, right? So
Yeah,
you're having to adjust to some different things that you're not accustomed to, but obviously it's something that you're planning for. What
right.
would you say kind of separates a good fighter from someone who can actually control a fight?
Um, hmm. A good fighter from someone who can control a fight. I would
Yeah,
say,
because so let's word it like this: like somebody who naturally gifted, naturally skilled.
right.
I can take it back to this Pacquiao versus Mayweather fight, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
for the first one, right? Like you got Manny's a phenomenally gifted and skillful and athletic fighter, and then you got
Mhm.
somebody who, like Floyd, is very technical and not the flashiest, not always the most entertaining for some people to watch, but he's able to neutralize people in different ways that causes a problem for them, right? Um,
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think separates that kind of a fighter, right? Somebody from being super technical and somebody who's super gifted. Like, what's the middle ground there, and how do you become a fighter that meshes the two worlds together? I think you're developing into that yourself. Not to hype you up or anything like that, but I think you are. I think
No,
you're
man.
developing into that
Thank you.
kind of a guy.
Um, I would say, and honestly, like I think a lot of fighters would agree with me on this. It's mentality, to go back onto that fight, I love both of them. They both have incredible backstories, especially Manny Pacquiao.
Hmm.
I love the dude. But a lot of Floyd's mentality, honestly, besides his lifestyle, whatever, is hard work.
Hmm.
Like he has a lot of stories where he would go on uh, go partying, and then after that, he would go run like 12 miles back home and stuff like that. Like no matter where he was always putting in the work, and he just kind of had an obsession. You know, they both
Yeah.
did, but Floyd, like no matter what, was always thinking about boxing, doing boxing,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about Floyd too, as well. But I think it's a mentality shift, honestly.
Yeah. No,
So.
I think you mentioned something pretty critical there. Floyd,
Mhm.
granted, he had his eyeballs and mind on all kinds of other things that maybe aren't healthy for you, right? Like the strip clubs and all that, like you're talking about.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you do see this obsession with boxing in a different way than Manny. Manny was into politics, is in politics, and so maybe their focus is, you know, maybe Floyd had a little bit more focus on boxing than Manny did in some ways. So
Right.
that's a good observation there. You're
Thanks.
obviously a fan favorite for Fights on Fremont, and so um, something that I'm sure that I don't know maybe you feed off of. Earlier, I was talking with Storm, and we were talking about some people get really energized by fighting in front of their hometown, and other people it's kind of an energy depletion from
Mm.
being in front of a hometown crowd. Like, do you draw energy from the crowd, and do you enjoy that platform of being in front of a local crowd?
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I love, especially people that I know watching me box, do the thing that everybody asks me, how'd your fight go? When was your last fight? And now they finally get to see it.
Hmm.
It's really, yeah, energizes me for sure to showcase what I can do, especially to a lot of faces who have never seen me fight before.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so the
yeah,
fact that we know it now, it energizes you, and you're going to be coming up on another one coming up here. Do
yeah.
you feel the expectation or the pressure to put on a show, and how is that going to change things for you, being that you're going to be fighting?
Um, oh yeah. And you can ask Storm as well. I talked to him about this. I will admit I had a bit of a rough patch, oh, my last fight's on Fremont. We don't talk about it, but like
Uh-huh.
it was a bit of a rough patch that I went through, and over the summer I, trained a lot more, got into boxing, and then I had taken my kind of my comeback fight, I would say, in Fort Hall, and I almost stopped the kid, but great kid by the way, but you know, and then I built up from there. Now we're in Canada, but I really this time, especially in front of everybody that saw me last year. I want
Hmm.
to show that I've made a lot of improvements and I can do a lot better. So,
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
then that's awesome. You're getting these opportunities like to get outside of your region and face some different competition and really kind of
Mhm.
test yourself and learn from these experiences. Speaking of that, you're in Canada right now.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that and what you're expecting coming up because you're going to be fighting coming soon, right? Pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Weigh-ins are in about an hour
Yeah.
half. So, yeah. Um, like what am I expecting to do or like
Like, what are you feeling? Like being the fact that you're in Canada, you're no ways from home, and you're going to be meeting some different people. Like, what are you feeling right now?
um I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of nerves, for sure. My fam isn't here. It's really just my team, but
Hmm.
that also builds me. It's showing that that's who I'm here to support, especially on an international level. People are gonna look at Fighters Chance and they're gonna hear us. They're gonna hear the announcer saying from Rupert, Idaho, be like, "Whoa, like this kid's from far away." So I got to
Hmm.
show them, where that's from, especially in my performance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What are you learning about yourself? The during these moments where you're like traveling for competition, like what is it that you're picking up and learning about yourself?
um, for sure that and then a lot last time as well. I think for the longest time I relied on, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of what's the word, like uh, not appreciation, like appeal. I don't know. I'm still trying to find the word for it. Of other people, especially my family. I love my
Uh-huh.
parents, but I would mainly fight just to show them that I can do this. But now that
Yeah.
they're not here and my family's not here, I would. My first time coming to Canada as well, I got really, really nervous, and I'm gonna share this story with you. I actually haven't told Storm. Only my family knows this. There was a moment before I fought in Canada that I had told Storm I'm gonna go get changed. I got changed, and I actually went out to the front of the building and I'd called my mom, and I'm not gonna lie, I was tearing up a little bit. I was like, I'm scared. You guys aren't here. I'm just like, I got a little nervous. I was very
Hmm.
comfortable with her, and she told me, she said, let's say a prayer, and she got my dad on the phone. She they came and the three of us just said a prayer together, and I was just on the phone, and man, after that, I felt like like I don't know, I was on steroids.
Yeah.
I felt energized, ready. I told my parents thank you. They watched the live, and I ended up beating the kid. Tough kid. He was very tough. But I think God, I would say, is what I rely on a lot more, especially when I'm out in places like this and everywhere. But when I don't have family or people
Hmm.
that I love these guys, but people that like, uh, you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Earlier, what you were talking about, which I think you were trying to find the words for,
Hmm.
is your dependency was upon man, but you found through connecting with your mom and your dad and praying that your dependency is really upon God. It's not man. And so
Exactly.
that's the thing that you're learning. And you going away from home, it's kind of like going out in the wilderness, right? You go out in the wilderness, and some people say they feel closer to God when they're out in the woods in the middle of nowhere and they got no cell phone service and all that stuff. And there's some truth to that, when you're able to get off alone, in the wilderness per
Hmm.
se, just like Jesus did, right? And he'd go off and he'd pray, and he was alone with the
Exactly.
Father. That's when he got into some deep moments of reflection and inspiration and revelation. And I think
Hmm.
that that's what you're finding is that as you're growing and developing as a fighter, your reliance is upon God. It is upon something greater than yourself, and that's encouraging to hear
Exactly.
from me, because I think that you as a young man, and you're growing and developing your skill set, you're getting on these larger stages, and you're using that as an opportunity to glorify God who put you there and gave you those skills, gave you those talents, gave you those abilities. And that's what we should do. And we should recognize the one that gives them. And that's completely okay to do.
Exactly.
So props to you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, man. That's what I look to do every single time. Like best thing that's happened in my life, honestly, is finding Jesus. So, every time I'm on that ring, and I'm trying to showcase my skills, I also want to glorify God in everything that I do,
Yeah,
especially there. So,
absolutely.
yeah,
That's cool to hear. And you know what? I'm gonna pin it on right there, because there's nothing else that's more important than that. So I'm gonna leave it with that. I'm so excited that I got a
100%.
chance to chop it up with you again, Uriah. Looking forward to hearing the results that come from this weekend being up in Canada. I know that you're gonna tear it up no matter what. Things are gonna go well for
Appreciate
you.
it.
So what was I gonna say? I don't want to say good luck, good fortune, blessings to you. As you go and you
Thank
step
you,
into
man.
the ring in Canada. You got it. Yeah. Thanks,
All
brother.
right. Hey, thank you for having me, man. Appreciate
You
it.
got it.